We are going to evaluate the integral of cosine cubed of 6x times sine to the negative 2 power times 6x dx. To evaluate this integral, we can use the rule sine squared of x plus cosine squared of x equals 1. We can begin by factoring out cosine of 6x and using the appropriate identity. When we do that, we would have the integral of 1 minus sine 2 6 of x, pull out a cosine out of the cosine cube, cosine 6 of x, times sine to the negative 2 power times 6x dx. Now we can multiply to get rid of the parentheses. This would become cosine of 6x times sine to the negative 2 power of 6x minus cosine 6x dx. The next step is to simplify. We can split the integral into the difference of two integrals. This becomes cosine of 6 of x over sine squared 6 of x dx. The sine to the negative 2 becomes a positive sine to the second power when we flip it and put it in the denominator. And then have another integral, cosine 6x. So all we did was split up the integral into two different parts. Notice that the first integral can be rewritten by using ratio and reciprocal identities. We can replace cosine of 6 of x over sine of 6 of x with the appropriate ratio identity, and replace 1 over sine 6 of x with the appropriate reciprocal identity. Cosine of 6 of x over sine squared of 6 of x dx minus the integral of cosine 6x dx equals the integral cotangent 6 of x times cosecant 6 of x dx minus the integral of cosine 6x dx. We were able to do this using the following rules. Cosine of x over sine of x equals tan of x, and 1 over sine of x equals cosecant of x. And now the first integral can be evaluated. We can use the substitution method to evaluate this integral. Once the substitution method is used, negative 1/6 times cosecant of 6x plus c. And we still have minus cosine, the integral of cosine 6x dx. Finally, we can evaluate the second integral to obtain the final answer. So this all becomes negative 1/6 cosecant of 6x plus c minus 1/6 sine 6x. Because the integral of cosine of x is equal to sine x. So now we have